Hello. So today's topic is potentiometer. So what a potentiometer is? It is a device which is used to compare the EMFs of any given primary cells, any two given primary cells, and it is also used to find out the internal distance of a cell. So why we make use of potentiometer in place of a voltmeter to find out the potential difference of, or we can say EMF of a cell? Because the voltmeter which we use, they have a certain value of resistance, right? Whereas the potentiometer, it works on the null method. So therefore the sensitivity of potentiometer is much higher than that of the sensitivity, or we can say accuracy of the potentiometer is much higher than that of the voltmeter. Because of some finite resistance of the voltmeter, it draws some current from the source, and hence it is not the exact value of EMF of the primary cell or cell which we are using. So what is a potentiometer? So potentiometer, it is nothing but a wire which is fixed over the board. So this is a wire which is fixed over the board, and it is the resistance wire similar as the constantan or manganese, right? So the wire is connected between these two terminals. Different lengths. So the potentiometers exist in, on the lengths of the wires. Different potentiometers have different lengths. This particular potentiometer has 4 meter length of the wire, which starts from one terminal. This is 100 meter, and then it is turned to make 2 meter, and then turned again to make 3 meter, and finally again it makes here up to 4 meter, right? So this is the simple representation of what we call a potentiometer. So in laboratory we make use of such devices to find out, to compare the EMFs of the two primary cells and to find out the internal resistance of the cell. We can also find out the EMF of the given primary cell. So we make the connection at these two ends. That is only the connection we make to this device. So potentiometer, it is nothing but a wire, but this wire, it is of uniform area of cross section. This thing has to be maintained. Okay. So for the simplicity, I am taking this length of the wire. It may be 2 meter, it may be 4 meter, or it may be 10 meter. There are also 10 meter length of the wire over the potentiometers. So one end it is A, other end it is B. So this is the potentiometer. When we try to understand how potentiometer works, the very first thing we discuss is the principle of the potentiometer. So the principle of potentiometer says that the wire which is used in the potentiometer, it should be of uniform area of cross section. That means its area of cross section, it should be same at all the points over the length of the potentiometer wire. And the second part of the principle is that there must be some constant current which is flowing through this wire. So the current which is flowing through this wire, it should remain constant, it should not change. So for maintaining the constant current, we attach a battery eliminator with it, whose resistance we can vary with the help of some rheostat, just like this. So this is nothing but it is rheostat, the variable resistor, and the EMF of this cell is called as auxiliary cell. This is the driving cell actually. It is used to maintain the current through the circuit, a constant current, and we name it as E dash. We can also connect ammeter here. We also connect an ammeter here to know what amount of current we are maintaining through this potentiometer wire. So this is the principle of the potentiometer, that the potentiometer wire should be of uniform area of cross section. I am writing it in short. And the current, it should also be constant. So whenever these things happen, in that particular case, the potential difference only in these two conditions, when these two conditions are satisfied, then the potential difference across any portion or part of this potentiometer wire is directly proportional to its length. So the potential difference in that case across any portion or any length of the wire, it will be directly proportional to the length of that portion, right? So what we do, we make use of another cell. This is called as primary cell. We connect the positive terminal of this primary cell at the same terminal where the positive terminal of the auxiliary battery is connected. So positive terminal remains connected at the same point, and through this negative terminal we are connecting a galvanometer and making the circuit complete. So we are connecting a pointer to the other end of the galvanometer. So if we maintain a constant current through a uniform area cross section of the wire, in that case potential drop across any portion of the wire, this potential drop, it will be simply known by its length. So because V, it is equal to I into R, so V is the potential difference, for example, across L length of the wire, across L length of the wire AB. L length may be any length of the same wire AB. So resistance, we can write it as rho into L upon A. Area, sorry, this is R into I. So in this particular situation, I, which we have maintained constant, area of cross section which we are taking constant, rho, it is already constant for the material of the wire. That means we, the potential difference across this length of the wire we are considering, for example any length of the wire, for example this length, then the potential difference across this length of the wire which we are taking here, it is equal to rho into I upon A, which is nothing but constant, into L. So this is something which is constant multiplied by L. So we can say that V is simply proportional to L. So the potential difference across the two ends, across any portion of the wire, it is directly proportional to the length of that particular proportion. So this is what principle of potentiometer says. So whenever we have a wire of uniform area of cross section through which a constant current is passing, in that case the potential difference across any portion of that wire, there can be this portion of the wire, it may be at any location. Okay? It may be on one side, it may be on the other side, or it may be at any location in between, right? So in that case the potential difference across that portion of the wire, it will always be directly proportional to the length of that portion. So if this is the potentiometer, then what use we can make it of it? So the very first use or application of the potentiometer is finding EMF of a primary cell. Right? So how do we find the EMF of the primary cell or any cell? So before that, we connect or we complete the circuit diagram as this. We have a potentiometer wire which is of uniform area of cross section, and we are maintaining some constant current through this wire with the help of some battery having EMF E dash. These are just the supporting components. So this is the principle of potentiometer. Now the potentiometer is ready to be used. Now the cell whose EMF is to be found, we connect it at this terminal. The positive is connected to the terminal where positive of the auxiliary battery is connected, and other end we connect a galvanometer. Other end of this cell, primary cell having EMF E, which we have to find, we connect the galvanometer, and other end we connect through the pointer. Other end of the galvanometer is connected to the pointer, which is free to slide over the potentiometer wire. Remember, the diagram seems to be similar to the slide wire bridge, but it is quite different in applications. So there is nothing concerned with the Wheatstone bridge principle here. Many students make such mistakes. Okay, so what we do, we keep the for checking the circuits, we keep this pointer at end A. The deflection should be on one side, and then take this pointer and connect at point B. The deflection should be on the other side. If this is not the case, then the circuit is not complete or correct. So there can be two reasons. Either the connections are not proper, so you should check the connection whether they are properly connected and they are tightly made. Or the other reason for this error, that the deflection at A and B is on the same direction, is that the EMF of this auxiliary battery, it is less than the EMF of this primary cell. So for the correct circuit diagram, we have to keep this EMF of the auxiliary battery, which sends a constant current through the potentiometer wire. So this EMF should be always higher than the EMF of this primary cell, because only in that case the current will flow only due to this primary cell. Otherwise the current will flow through this primary cell. Primary cell. So this must be high. If it is short, then the EMF of the primary cell, then the deflection will be on the other side. If all things are correct, then the deflection at point A and at point B will be to the opposite direction, and in that case the circuit is ready to be used. So we connect the cell whose whose EMF is to be found in this way. Before proceeding, we check the potential drop, or we can say the potential gradient of this potentiometer wire. Suppose that the length of the wire, it is nothing but L, or let me call it DL for the simplicity, across which some potential difference is applied. Suppose it is dV with the help of this auxiliary battery. So across the whole length of the potentiometer wire, which I am taking as DL, the potential difference is used, it is dV applied, which is dV. So from here the potential gradient dV upon dL, this is the potential gradient. So we find this thing first. So it is dV upon dL. So it has nothing to, potential gradient has nothing to do with any external component we are connecting. So this is what we find in the first hand. Once we have found it, we know what this ratio tells. This ratio tells us about the potential drop across 1 unit length of the wire. This same wire. This is nothing but the potential drop across 1 unit length of the potentiometer wire. So once we know the potential drop across 1 unit length of the wire, we can calculate the potential across any length of the wire. So when we connect this cell having EMF E, this is the primary cell whose EMF E is to be found in this way, and place the pointer from end A and keep it sliding over the length of the wire. The deflection of the galvanometer will go on decreasing, moving towards 0. There will be one point at which the deflection will be 0 in the galvanometer. Suppose that this point is C. That means at point C, the galvanometer is showing 0 deflection. That means there is no current which is flowing through this arm. So because there is no current which is flowing through this arm, that means the circuit is not drawing any current from this cell. It behaves just like this cell is not getting used. So if no current flows through this cell, then this length, the potential drop across this length, gives us the value of this EMF. Suppose that this length is L. So this is called as balancing length, and this point C, it is called as balancing point. So because we already know about the potential gradient, now we can calculate the EMF of the primary cell, which is nothing but the potential drop across 1 unit length, which is dV upon dl, means potential gradient, multiplied by the length we are getting here. So this is nothing but the potential across L length of the wire. This is the potential across 1 unit length, and if total length is L, which we are finding here as L, so that gives the total potential drop across L length of the wire, which is the EMF of this primary cell. So this is how we calculate the EMF of any primary cell. Second application is comparison of the EMFs of two given primary cells. Suppose that we have two primary cells. In laboratory we perform the experiments by taking the two primary cells, one out of which one is the Daniell cell, another one is the Leclanche cell. So second application is comparison of EMFs of two primary cells. So how do we compare? Suppose that the EMF of the first cell out of the two is E1, and the EMF of the second cell, it is E2. So the two cells whose EMF we are willing to compare are E1 and E2. So we connect the two cells just like this. You can also drop the second part of this to keep it simple. The EMF of the first cell, let it be E1. So first we find the balancing length for the cell E1, which will give us the EMF E1, which will be proportional to its balancing length. Suppose it is L1. We slide this pointer from end A, means which is the zero end, and keep this pointer moving till the deflection in the galvanometer becomes 0. At that point, no current will flow through this circuit, and hence the length is called as the balancing length, and point C where it balances and makes the current through galvanometer 0, it is called as the balancing point. So this is the length L1 for the cell E1. So from the definition of from the principle of the potentiometer, the potential drop across any length of the wire, it is directly proportional to the length of the wire. So therefore the potential drop across this length, it will be equal to the EMF of the cell. So this is proportional to L1. All other constants, they just cancel out. Not just cancel out, but they remain constant. Then we take this out and connect the second cell having EMF E2. First cell we take out and connect the second cell having EMF E2. And we do the same procedure for the second cell. We take the pointer, keep it point A, and slide it over the potentiometer wire. There will be one point where the deflection through the galvanometer, it will be at 0. So that means there is no current which is flowing through the galvanometer in that particular situation. Suppose that that point is, for example, point D for the second cell. So that this balancing length for the second cell is L2. So from the again principle of the potentiometer, E2, the EMF of the second cell, it is directly proportional to the length of that portion L2. We divide these two equations, so we get E1 upon E2. This is equal to L1 upon L2. Anything which is constant of proportionality here, it will cancel out. So this is how we compare the two terms. And here we are comparing the EMFs of two primary cells. So for that we only need the lengths, balancing lengths for the two cells. So we do not require any value of current or measurement of resistance or measurement of potential difference. That's why it is much more accurate method to find or measure the potential difference or compare the EMFs. The third application of potentiometer is to find out internal resistance of the primary cell. We already know the internal resistance of a cell. It is nothing but the resistance offered by the electrolytic solution of the cell. So how do we find? For that we already know the formula. Internal resistance R is equal to E, the EMF of the cell, divided by V, the terminal potential difference, minus 1 whole multiplied by the external resistance R. So this is the formula we already know for the internal resistance. So here we find the ratio and we can substitute here to find out the internal resistance of cell. For that, suppose that we have the primary cell having EMF E. So we find the EMF of this primary cell in the same procedure as we did earlier. So we find the balancing length for E for the EMF of the primary cell whenever we have no other resistor which is connected to the cell. We have not connected any other component to the primary cell having EMF E, so that there is no element which can draw the current from EMF of the cell or from the cell. Hence, in that situation, the potential difference across the two terminals of the cell, it is called as EMF of the cell. So by the potentiometer, the EMF of the cell, it comes out to be proportional to its balancing length. Let it be called as L1. I am giving it name L1. Suppose that it is for this point C. Right? Then we connect some resistance. We can give it name R or S. Right? So we are connecting some resistance parallel, or we can say across this cell. So we have connected some resistance S across this cell, and we are taking out some resistance from this resistance box. For this we can make use of resistance box which has specific resistances. So we introduce some resistance here. For simplicity of understanding, we take the symbol S for the resistance, which is because it is connected parallel to the cell in this particular case. So here R, we can write it with S. It is called as shunt resistance. So by introducing some resistance from here, now it is drawing some potential, or we can say current, from the cell. That means now this cell is getting used in this circuit. Right? So whenever cell is getting used in the circuit, in that case, what is the potential drop across the two terminals of the cell? It is nothing but the terminal potential difference, which is less than the EMF of the primary cell, or we can say cell, because there will be some potential drop across the internal resistance of the cell. So whenever we put the cell into use, there is some potential drop which takes place across this internal resistance small r, due to which the potential difference across the two ends of the, or we can say two terminals of the cell, decreases, and now this decreased potential difference is called as terminal potential difference, which we indicate with E. So now we again repeat the same procedure. We keep the pointer of the galvanometer at point A and slide it. We find it to be at some other point, balancing point. So in that case, that balancing length gives us the terminal potential difference, because we are finding it whenever we are using some resistance with the cell. So it is proportional to L2. I am giving it name L2, which will be less than L1, because V is less than E. So from here, these two equations, we find E upon V. We divide these two, which is equal to, so constants just cancel out, and we get L1 upon L2. So we substitute this value of E upon V here and write the formula for the internal resistance, which is E upon V. It is nothing but L1 upon L2 minus 1 into S, the resistance we have attached or introduced. So this remains the formula for the internal resistance. We can slightly put it in this form, that R is equal to, on taking LCM, it becomes L1 minus L2 divided by L2 into S. So this remains the formula for the internal resistance of the cell, which we find with the help of the potentiometer.